2.
What's up, everybody? Scott Hoffner here at Didi's downtown, where it all goes down. And let me tell you what we're not going to do today. We're not cooking chicken. We're going to do brisket. And I'm going to show you guys how to trim it up. I'm going to be in this joint for like 14 hours. And the brisket that we're using today is a prime brisket that came from Omaha, Nebraska. It's a really nice piece of meat. You can see the fat content in it and the dickle. I'm going to explain this meat to you a little bit, but this is kind of how we start the process with brisket. First and foremost, you want to pick out a nice brisket that has as uniform as possible. So like this is what everybody calls the point, and the deckle is right here. So the point, and then down here is the flat, and as you can see, it's flat. The key to a great brisket is really having the most uniform brisket you can have, and that's why we trim it up, because what's tough about cooking brisket is that this side is flatter and this is thicker, so they cook unevenly. So the goal is to try and get it as even as you can with leaving the right amount of fat content to cook it for 12 to 14 hours. So we're going to start with a little bit of a trim. And another little tip with this, it's also you want to trim up your briskets when they're cold still. It makes it easier so the meat's not so floppy and you can like hold on to it. Your knife goes through it better. And another really important thing is a sharp effing knife. If you got a dull knife, dude, don't even try this shit. It's stupid. Get a sharp knife. Go buy a knife to do this if you have to. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up top on this little bit of fat, okay? And a lot of people use boning knives. I like a flexible knife so I can move around a little bit better, and a thin knife. Went out in it, and I'm just going to shoot right down. Now what we're kind of looking to do is try to keep a 1/8 inch of a cut of fat on top. You want to keep about 1/8. Now see, this is just kind of floppy, saggy fat. I'm going to pull that top off, and here you can see this is what's considered hard fat, okay? And this is part of the deckle right here. We want to remove this. Now this can be a bit tricky. You got to come at it kind of like a V and go in it, right down. And you'll hear that I can kind of rip it up a little bit. And you can push the meat away from it. Then you come in. You see I'm just making real simple incisions right down it, okay? And then I'm gonna come up over the top here too. And see, if you don't have a sharp knife, you're not getting through this stuff. I'm telling you. You won't get through it. It's thicker than you think. And this fat is hard here. Want to have a trash can near you when you're doing it. That way you can discard all of this fat. See, we're breaking that out. Look at that. That's just a whole bunch of grossness. And what's unfortunate is you can't really do anything with it. People wonder, is it like bacon fat? Can you render it? It burns and it smokes and it has a real bitter flavor to it. Now see, you can see the graying on the outside of the beet. You want to trim that off. You want to have a really nice, symmetrical. Thank you so much. And you want to clean that up. You see how it's kind of gray? That's from when they packed it. Okay? So we're going to take that off a little bit as well. And I know you think you're like, oh, I'm cutting all this meat off and I spent all this money on it. It won't come out right. It won't be good. It won't taste good if you don't do it. So see, this big old cap, that's hard. It's very different than this meat. You're cooking on low heat, so you can't render. And if you don't know what rendering is, it's when you break down the fat into a almost liquid state or gel. And see, this thing is so hard. You gotta come right off of it. And see still how much there is? That's hard as a rock in comparison to this and the silver skin. Look at that, it's nothing. You can't eat that. You store it away. See, and this one, and every one of them are different. This one's kind of like a little ball. It's kind of unique. Pop that guy, see? We're slowly entering in to, what do we call it up here? It's the point. Right here, the flat. See, it's flat. There's still some more in. Now, the V cut is really important here because you really don't want to go too much further. I have to get a different angle at it. Sorry, cameraman. Randy, the cameraman, the director, the editor. There we go. That's nice. Now, that fat is softer. That's going to render down over time. This is the silver skin. Now, some people are real crazy about the silver skin and want it all off. It's the same thing you see on a beef tenderloin. It's the same thing you see on a pork tenderloin. This little bit of silver skin. You see it on baby back ribs too. You could spend a lot of time trimming it up or not. It will cook off. It's not like a rib that the sinew, if you don't pull away, you can't bite through your ribs. But I like to clean it up just a bit myself. And actually, if you're just chilling, it can be kind of enjoyable to do. Still a little bit more right there. I want to pop that out of there. So that meat cooks nice and even. See, we still have some of that gray right here. It'll come right down the side of it. Ooh, look at that. Now you're starting to see. Okay? Now, if anybody's interested in knowing, does anybody know where the brisket comes from? The flat right here is like, it's up in the breast of the cow. So the flat kind of is what wraps around, and this part, the point, is right here. So that's how it looks on it. It'd be like if I was a cow. Or what's the lady's name? Lady Gaga? She'd make a freaking suit with a couple of briskets. Right there. Boom. That's what it is. Lady Gaga. You'd like some brisket, Gaga? Take this down a little bit. This way. And once you get used to it, now if you don't have to rush, you can take your time. I'm doing a bunch of briskets. We're going to do a nice little 14-hour cook. Probably about 14 hours till service time. You want to leave little pockets of windows. See here? We need to get this guy out too. I'm going to pop it off. Now, folks, I'm sure maybe some of you have heard about burnt ends, which are delicious. This is the burnt end right here, this section. And when I cut them in the morning, you'll see we'll cut it differently. This part will be cut one way and this part will be cut another. All right, let's get this piece out of here. This is the dickle, a little dickly-lickly. Get in. Boy, that's a hard one. Almost there. Daddy. See, this part here is soft. A little trim. Kind of too bad that that thing was so deep. Man alive. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. We have a nice little fat cap on it. Silver skin is pretty good. Now let me take a little bit more off here, and there's some more of that gray. Let's take it off. All right, so now what we got, boys and girls, is called seasoning time. So when we get back to you, we are going to make our spice rub for these bad boy briskets. Briskets, the bad boys. We're gonna season them up, buttercup, and we'll be back with y'all in a little bit.